called me up. He's like, Sheikh, I'm coming to pick you up. I'm going to take you to deliver your Jummah khutbah. I'm like, okay, man, let's go. This guy pulls up in my driveway, 1 p.m., a $120,000 car, right? And he was involved in that life. We all knew he was involved in that life. And I sit in his car, mashallah, nice car. And I'm telling him, like, bro, subhanallah, nice car and everything, right? Jaguar. The Jaguar. He tells me, he's like, Sheikh, because of my dealings and whatever I do, my weekly paycheck, and he told me that my weekly paycheck, Sheikh, is over $20,000 in cash. It's $20,000 in cash. But Sheikh, my heart is empty. Sheikh, I can't sleep at night. Sheikh, I'm always looking over my shoulder. Sheikh, what am I supposed to do? Sheikh, how am I supposed to get out of this? So when people like us get dragged into that lifestyle, it's not because we want to do that. It's because we've been showed these unrealistic dreams, and some of it is true. I remember this guy telling me, this is 2018 when I came back, and I delivered my khutbah on drugs in one of the masjids in Surrey. And this young man came up to me. He was, how old are you?
22.
Yeah, exactly your age, about 21. The Sheikh, I'm involved in, he mentioned a very famous gang, involved in this gang. And then we started to have a chat. You know, one thing he told me, all of you guys are somewhat grown up, so I'm not going to shy by saying this. I'm going to say it straight up to you, because this is what you guys hear as well. He said, Sheikh, right now I'm living a life that we have a common gang house. Like all the members of the gang, they come and chill there, right? Yeah, trap, whatever you want to give that name. Okay, what do you do in that house? He's like, Sheikh, we go, and there's a room, and that room is full of girls, okay? And that's what a young man wants, right? That's the dream. Like, Sheikh, the room is full of girls. I'm like, okay. Like, Sheikh, then there are cupboards. I'm like, what's in that cupboard? He's like, you open one cupboard, just drugs. You want to get high, go get high. You open another cupboard, that's cash. Like, over $100,000 in that drawer. And because of our loyalty to the gang, whoever wants to come, whatever they want to spend, they can spend from that. It's our money. But you know what he said to me in the end? The same thing this brother said to me on Eid. Sheikh, I have all of that. This is empty. Sheikh, I feel restless. Sheikh, I feel that I'm angry all the time. Do you know the reason for that? And I'll tell you the reason in very simple examples. All of you are either Pakistani, Indian, or somewhat of that. There's a dish we have in our culture called biryani. It's made out of meat, rice and meat. You cook biryani, you give it to me, I love biryani, I'm going to eat biryani, okay? But you take that biryani, you give it to a goat ain't going to eat biryani, okay? You give the goat grass, that is biryani for the goat. You give grass to me, bro, I'm not going to have grass. So all of this that you see outside, all of this that people are dragging you on the outside, all of that, girls and money and drugs and gangs and all of that, that is food for your body. So with that, you're feeding your body. You have something else. Anyone know what that is with your body? You have a body and a soul, exactly. That is not food for your soul. Your soul only knows two things, Allah and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Until you do not give your soul that, you will be running around post to pillar without any purpose in life. You will have everything you want, and even then you will be living a life of no purpose, right? You need to understand, every one of you, I'm guessing all of you go to high school, right? You guys need to understand who you really are, okay? You need to understand your worth. You need to understand that you are very, very special people, okay? Islam, when it began, Tayyib, don't let me make me slap you, okay? Islam, in the beginning, when the Prophet ﷺ started delivering the message of Islam, it was such that the Prophet would go to someone and invite him, and you know what the person would do? Spit on his face. Straight. The Prophet would tell him that, I want you to listen to me, and before even the Prophet would say anything, he would spit on his face, even before the Prophet said anything. Like, let me share with you a very interesting story. The Prophet, you guys read about it in your maktabs, and your teachers tell you the Prophet was a very merciful person, right? He forgave people. Sabi, idhar aake baitho. ठीक है. The Prophet ﷺ used to forgive people, right? One day the Prophet was this is in Medina, and two of his cousins came. Abu Sufyan ibn Harith and Abdullah ibn Abi Umayyah. These were the Prophet's cousins, but they were not Muslims. So they came to accept Islam. The Prophet said that, look man, I don't want to see your face. I don't want to meet you. I don't want anything to do from you. I don't want your Islam. Just get out of here, right? So the people were really confused that, oh Muhammad, you forgive people who physically assault you. Why aren't you accepting your own cousins? The Prophet said that these people, when I delivered the message of Islam, before even listening to me, they would reject me, and they caused me pain. So then he elaborated, and this, I'm telling you this to tell you how people would reject the Prophet. He said, Abu Sufyan ibn Harith, he's my cousin, he's my uncle's son. When I told him the message of Islam, this guy went on the hills of Mecca, and he knew how to write poetry in Arabic. So he would gather everyone in the market, and he would sing poetry making fun of me. He would laugh, and he would make everyone laugh, okay? And this is what I want to tell you. Abdullah, the other guy, the other cousin, the Prophet said, you know what he did with me? When I told him, or when I invited him towards Islam, before even listening to me, like when the Prophet was delivering, he said that, oh Muhammad, if you were to build a staircase from Baytullah, from Kaaba, up to the Arsh of Allah, where Allah is, and then in front of me you go up, and then you come back with two angels on your right, two on your left, and a letterhead, you know, like an official letter from Allah saying that you are His Nabi, even then I'm not going to believe in you, right? So this is how people would reject the Prophet. But fast forward, when the Prophet performed his Hajj, and then the Prophet went to conquer Makkah Mukarramah. The Prophet went for a Hajj with over 100,000 companions, okay? And when the Prophet stood up at the mountain of Arafah to give his khutbah, and the khutbah is very famous, you must have read the final khutbah of the Prophet. And he started off the khutbah by saying something very powerful. He said, أَلَا إِنَّ أَمْرًا مِنَ الْجَاهِلِيَّةِ تَحْتَ قَدَمِي مَوْضُوعٌ. That from today onwards, every single custom of the time of ignorance have been trampled. إِنَّ الدِّينَ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ الْإِسْلَامِ. From today onwards, the only accepted religion in the sight of Allah is Islam. And the Prophet was crying when he was giving the khutbah. You know why was he crying? Because there was a time when no one would listen to him. And now over 100,000 people are there, and many were not even in attendance. Can you see the shift? That huge shift. You know how that shift happened? Because of people like you. I'm not lying, straight up. Because of people like you. Because of guys your age. Because of guys your age who made Islam their purpose of life. Because of guys your age who understood that we have been created for something much greater than this world. Right? Musab bin Umair is a very famous incident. Musab bin Umair, he was young, 18, 19, 20. He was so wealthy, so wealthy, and I like to give this example, is that you guys are facing me, right? And if Musab was to walk from the back, you would not have the need to look at him, and even then the entire masjid would know this is Musab. Because the perfume Musab would have on would be blended only for Musab. Like no one in the entire world would have the perfume that Musab had. I mean, that's how wealthy Musab was. But something happened to Musab. You know what happened to Musab? He fell in love with the Prophet. He met the Prophet and he fell in love with him. After he fell in love with him, he went home and he told his family. So his mother was very wealthy, right? Usually fathers are the ones who are taking care of everything. In the case of Mus'ab, his mother was the one who was running the show. So she locked up Mus'ab. She's like, I'm not going to let you go until you let go of Muhammad. He's like, I'm not going to do that. Then she stopped eating. And it will be time to eat, and she would come to Mus'ab and she would be like, Mus'ab, I'm not eating. What are you going to do? Do you love your mom or no? Do you love your mom or do you love Muhammad? What are you going to do? Musab would be like, Mom, I love you, but I love Muhammad more. So I understand you have to eat, but if you're not eating and you expect me to change my religion, I ain't doing that. So by all means, do whatever you want. So his mother soon realized that, nothing is going to happen. So she let go of Mus'ab. Mus'ab then moved to Medina. One day the Prophet saw Mus'ab in Medina, and it really hit his heart. The Mus'ab, such a person, his perfume was blended specifically for him. His clothes were tailored specifically for him. No one could buy that kind of clothes. And the Prophet saw him in Medina wearing 2 rags, 2 sheets, ripped from various places. Why did this happen? Because he understood that I've been created for something much greater, right? Khubayb ibn Arat radiyallahu anhu. He was also young. And the story of Khubayb is very inspirational. The non-believers captured him. Let me tell you how this all went down. There was this companion, his name was Sa'id ibn Amir al-Jumahi radiyallahu anhu. Sa'id bin Amir was appointed as the governor, the mayor of Hims in Syria. So at the time of Umar ibn Khattab made him the governor. So people from Hims wrote a letter to Umar ibn Khattab that this man that you have sent, he's sick, he's ill. Like every 10 minutes he passes out. You go to his office, he's just unconscious there. Can you please call him back and send someone who is capable of running the office of the city? So Umar called Sa'id ibn Amir. He said, Sa'id, why didn't you tell me that physically you were not healthy enough to be the governor? Right? So Sa'id said that, Umar, I'm not sick. Then he said, okay, what happened to you? He said, Umar, I was there when my people killed the companion of the Prophet, Khubayb radiyallahu anh. So Umar said, what happened? And he narrates the whole story. He said that my people, they captured Khubayb radiyallahu anh, and first he was locked up in a house. And subhanAllah, look at this. He was locked in a house, and that house had a baby, right? And Khubayb radiyallahu anh, he had this blade to shave his hair, right? So the baby got close to Khubayb radiyallahu anh. So the baby's mother got really scared that, we've captured him, he's going to kill my baby. So he said that, don't worry, I'm not going to touch your baby. My Nabi has taught me much greater than this. I'm not going to attack your baby. Then they dragged him out to the streets, and they hung him in the middle of the neighborhood. Sayyid ibn Amir says that my mother told me that when something like this happens, try to remove yourself from that situation. If you cannot remove yourself, then lay down, because what they're about to do to this person is going to have an effect on you. So he said that I lowered myself, and they hung Khubayb radiyallahu anh. And then they would come with these, you comb your hair, right? And they would come with a comb of steel, like very, very sharp steel. And they would comb the body of Khubayb, like just ripping his skin apart. And every time they would do it, they would say, let go of Muhammad, leave Muhammad alone. And he was like, no, I'm not going to leave the religion of Muhammad. I'm not going to leave him alone. I'm going to be with him. And then he said that the youngsters of that area, they would play a game. They would take something sharp and they would take targets of different body parts of Khubayb ibn Irat. And they brought needles and they would poke the eyes of Khubayb and the ears of Khubayb, just asking him to denounce Muhammad. But he didn't. You know why? Because he understood that I have been created for something much, much bigger than this world. Eventually they cut off his ears, his tongue, and different parts of his body. And that is how Khubayb ibn Irat lost his life. These were the young men, people like you, man, at the time of the Prophet ﷺ. And that was such a time that when we had young men like them, people would take their life guidance from Muslims, right? Today we take guidance from other people, right? Like I go to the barber and he's like, okay, what haircut do you want? I pull up Messi. Make me like Messi. I don't. I'm a Mulana. It's haram. Do you get a Messi haircut? Okay. Next time I need to have a chat with your dad about that. Okay, I'll talk to you about that. Or things like that, right? But at that time, people would look at Muslims. What are the Muslims doing? Tayyib? Okay. They would say that, what are the Muslims doing? And they would copy that. You guys can still do that, right? You guys can still do that. You guys can still be the leading examples in the world. You guys can still be the leading examples at your schools. The only thing that is stopping you from being an example, you know what that is? Is you guys are just shy. You guys, I've been there, man. I've been there, I've done that. It's not that you guys don't have it in you. You have it in you, man. It's just you guys are too shy. Like, I've been there. Like, what are people gonna say? If I pray salah at school, what are people gonna say? What are my friends gonna say, right? If I don't hang around with girls, what are my friends gonna say, right? If I don't talk to girls on Snap, what are my friends gonna say? That you're a wuss or something. You know, that's what it is, right? What you need to understand is you guys are different. You guys are special. You guys don't need to fall into that trap. You guys don't need to go and follow that same rat race. You don't have to, let go of your identity just to fit in. No, you guys have your own identity. The Prophet ﷺ, when he would walk, his gazes would be lowered. That's how he would walk. So he would calculate his area and then he would walk with his gazes lowered. Try doing that in the hallways of your school. That you're walking, but your gazes are down. Try doing that. And you will feel people praising you, right? Let me tell you an example. I took a course in college, just recently, and after the final exam, my teacher was a woman, like around 45, 50. So she posted the exam results in the classroom. So after, when she emailed us that she has posted the results, I went to check my result. And after that, I went to her and I said, look, I want to apologize, right? And she was all weirded out, like, what are you doing? Like, what's this, right? What do you want to apologize for, right? So I'm like, Islam teaches me that teachers are like parents in a way. And we've been taught to respect our parents. And during this semester, if I've ever came off disrespectful towards you, said something disrespectful, please forgive me. Bro, her eyes were like wide open and she's like, never in my life has any student said this to me. What religion do you follow? Where is this written? She asked a copy of the Quran from me. You guys need to be examples people will follow. My purpose, I'm pretty sure the Shaykh here, this Qiyam night, The purpose is not that you guys leave school and go to a madrasa and become alims. You want to do that, that's very good. You want to become imams, that's very good. But that's not our purpose. You know what our purpose is? You want to know what our purpose is? What we want you to be? We want you to be such people. You can be a doctor, an engineer, a cop, a police, whatever you want to be. But we want you to be such people that, for example, if you're a doctor, and someone in the hospital says, yo, what does the Quran say? They can point towards you and say, this man is a walking example of the Quran. You see him, you will understand what the Quran is. This is what we want you to be. We want you to be such examples of the Prophet ﷺ. If you guys become cops in the RCMP, if someone says that, who is this Muhammad Muslims talk about all day, every day? They can point towards you and say, this man is an exact replica of Prophet Muhammad. You look at him, you will know who Prophet Muhammad was. This is what we want you to be, right? And this will only happen if you choose deen over dunya, right? And you don't have to sacrifice dunya, right? And I've shared this with Sufyan and Ahad many times. I'll tell this to you as well. Read about Abdurrahman ibn Auf. Abdurrahman ibn Auf was one of those 10 companions that were guaranteed Jannah by the Prophet ﷺ in this world. He left so much wealth when he died. He was like really, really rich. So when the scholars, when they took, the gold, whatever he left, and when they calculated it to today's currency, do you know how much he was worth when he died? This is 2 years ago. You want to take any guesses? No, not even close. 626 billion American dollars. The net worth of a companion of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Teaching us that you don't have to sacrifice this dunya.
Who inherited the money?
Families. So you don't have to sacrifice this dunya. You can, we want you guys to roll in Lambos, man, and Ferraris, and, all these. My favorite car is like an F-150 Raptor. It's like a $100,000 car, right? So no one is stopping you from doing that. Right? You can do whatever you want, as long as it's halal, obviously. But before you do anything and everything else, you need to understand that I am an ummati of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this should reflect in everything I do and everything I say. Right? You need to understand your worth. You need to understand what your value is. You need to understand who you really, really are. You've not been created to chase women. You were not brought into existence to chase drugs. Allah did not make you to kill and get killed in gangs. No. You were brought into existence to be ambassadors of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That is why Allah created you. Hamza, don't make me. Don't make me, please. Okay? You've been brought into existence to be ambassadors of who? Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You guys can try to do that? It's very simple. It's not hard, right? It's not hard. I'll tell 3 things. 3 things you do, it will be done 80%. 3 things. And everyone can do that. Right now. Right now. Right now. Okay. 3 things. You guys ready to make a promise to me to do these 3 things? Okay, 3 things. Number 1, pray your salah on time. No matter where you are. You're at school, don't be shy, okay? You be proud. Be proud that I follow the deen of Muhammad. Nothing to be shy about. People are doing so many stupid things outside and they're not shy to do that. Why are you shy to follow the most perfect lifestyle that exists in this world, right? Look, Islam is the most natural lifestyle, right? For example, in Islam, drinking is haram, right? You cannot drink. It's natural. Because if drinking was so good, you wouldn't get arrested for drinking and driving, right? Islam tells you to stay away from gambling. If gambling was so good, if you ever see lottery tickets or something, it says behind them, know your limits and play within it. So they wouldn't give you that, that warning. It's because there's something wrong with it, right? So your deen is the most perfect and natural deen. So the first thing, pray your salah on time. Fajr salah. Right now, Fajr salah is like till, I think, 7:15, 7:30, right? Sunrise. You can pray salah easily, right? Wake up, pray Salatul Fajr. If you can in the masjid, that's very good. You guys should be in the first saf anyway, right? No, the first saf has been hijacked by the uncles. It should be yours. First saf should have been yours. But what happened? We did not take control of the first saf, and other people took control. You should be in the first saf. Huh? Yeah, the first row. Huh? Yeah, so if you guys are there in the masjid before the salah time starts, you will get your spot in the first saf, right? So pray your salah on time, no matter where you are. You're at school, lunch break, most of the schools. Anyone go to Johnston Heights here? You guys have a whole MSA there, right? Yeah. So pray your salah with them in Johnston. I'm going to be coming to your school. They have invited me. So I'm going to be coming either this week or next week. But Johnston Heights, yeah, I know they have an MSA. Anyone here goes to PM? You guys go to PM? PM has like 60 people praying Zohar there. Yeah, so pray salah there. What school you go to? PR, which school is that? Panorama Ridge, yeah, they have something there too. You guys are university, right? You guys, yeah, so university is something different. But at school, pray your salah. Guys, pray your salah, okay? That's the first thing. Second thing is very, very important. Tayyib. Second thing is very important. Okay? Second thing is very important. You guys ready to hear that? Lower your gazes. Okay, and that's going to be very challenging. Don't look at things you're not supposed to be looking at. Okay? Don't be looking at things on your phones that you're not supposed to be looking at. Okay? Lower your gazes from the opposite gender. And you know what the Prophet said? We all say we're Muslims, right? We say we're Muslims, right? You know what the Prophet said? The Prophet said that if a young man sees something that he's not supposed to be looking at, and he lowers his gazes for the sake of Allah, you know what's going to happen at that very moment? Allah Ta'ala will give him the sweetness of Iman. He will literally taste what it means to be a Muslim. He will literally feel what it means to be a Muslim. Lower your gazes, okay? And trust me, what Allah will give you in return in this world would be much greater, and you would feel that. Don't destroy your life. We need to have a whole topic on this, but just don't destroy your life over that, okay? So lower your gazes, number 2. Number 3 is respect your parents, okay? Don't talk back. Don't look at them with those gazes that you don't know anything. This is something which is very common in today's time and very common in this age. Like the age we are in right now. Respect your parents, okay? Don't do anything that will cause them pain, hurt, or disappointment, right? And we have this mindset. I told you I went through this, right? We have this mindset at this age. You know what that mindset is? Yeah, Abba doesn't know anything. Abba's dumb. My dad drives a cab. I'm in high school. I know better than my dad. My dad does this odd job. I'm in university now. No, I know better than my dad. You would never know better than your dad. No matter what you do. You can be a professor at Harvard and your dad is a cab driver. Your dad still knows better than you. Why? Because he's your dad. Why? Because experience. And some of the things our parents do behind, for us, we don't even realize. You go home, we want a burger, you tell your mom, can you please make me a burger? And she goes in the fridge, you're taking a shower, you come out, burger is ready. Do you know what your dad and your parents have to do to put that burger on the table for you? Forget about food, man. I'll tell you a story. Ahad knows about this. That I was working one day and I met this guy, his uncle, and I knew him, and his eyes were bloodshot red. Like you could feel that there's something wrong with him. So I asked him, everything okay? He's like, Beta, I've been working for 19 hours. For how many hours? 19 hours straight. So I'm like, why are you working for 19 hours? Is everything okay? And he gave me a bunch of reasons. And you know what's one of the reasons he gave me? My son wants a PlayStation 5. My son wants a PlayStation 5. These are some of the things that our parents have to go through just because we want to fit in the community. Just because we want to be with the guys. We want to be in the crew. That's what they go through. So never talk, number one, never disrespect them in any way. Never make them feel hurt and disappointed. Number two, and this is very common at the ages you guys are at, never choose your friends over your parents. Never, ever choose your friends over your parents. No matter how close that friend is, how best that friend is, you never choose them over your parents. So you guys ready to do these three things? Yeah. Ready? Okay, next time I see any one of you, I'm going to ask. Okay? May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make you all ambassadors of the deen of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and make you firm on your deen. Inshallah, okay? I'm here, so you guys want to chill, you can chill, okay? Come here, come here. How do you turn this on?